Another question that was interesting was in these sort of islands of plastic out in the middle of the ocean, does sand grow? Is it actually like a proper island? And the answer is no. It's really, if you imagine like almost a soupy, goopy mass. There are some big pieces of plastic out there floating around, and there's some big areas where you to swim through it, you'd be like, and there would just be little pieces, and it would almost probably feel like you're swimming through goop. It's not that thick, but it's not anything that's going to form a proper island with sand and palm trees like that. So think about it more of like a soupy, goopy mess out there that needs your help to get stopped. So why do people trash the beach and throw away and pollute the water? Probably depending on your background, you would answer this very different ways. Obviously, one aspect of it is education. People don't really sometimes realize what they're doing, believe it or not. They just think, it's just a piece of paper and I'm just going to throw it on the ground. There's no trash bin nearby. There's a famous paper that talks about the tragedy of the commons. You know, if you're walking through a common area and you see a flower, you think, I'm just one person, I'm just going to pick the one flower. The problem is everybody thinks that way, and so pretty soon the common area has no flowers because everyone's just picked one flower. And sometimes we don't see that our individual actions matter very much, or don't think that, but when they are added together, they really do. Many of people from different faith backgrounds, kind of whatever they are, would believe in some sort of idea of selfishness, so that there's something about us that's inherently selfish. Often, you know, we think about ourselves before other people, and so sometimes we're just being selfish, and aren't really thinking about others that are there. You know, everything that you buy, everything that you do, you're either on the end of a chain of blessing or a chain of cursing, you could call it, or destruction. You know, so you buy an item that's made on the other side of the world, perhaps in China, which is often the case, and there's a whole chain of interactions that go between you sitting in some store and buying that item and the place where it was made, or even the raw materials that were used to develop it. And so we don't think about that whole chain. And so when we buy something, it's actually people along the way have been treated well or not well, the environment's been treated right or not right. And so we can actually impact other people by just what we buy. But we often go to the store and we just think, here's a toothbrush, you know, I just need to brush my teeth. And you're not thinking about who made that toothbrush. You know, what was that person treated like, and where did the materials come from? So often we just think about ourselves and what we need. And also I think some of it's just ignorance. We didn't really understand what we were doing. People created plastic to save time, to save money, and it's ultimately not going to. It's going to really cost both time and money and health. And so we just didn't know what we were doing. So there's a lot of different reasons why. I don't think there's many people who are just mean and just really want to destroy. There's some people like that maybe, but I think a lot of us, with understanding the problems, with thinking selflessly, trying to think about other people. If you're of a particular faith, thinking about your relationship, you know, to whoever you have that faith in. That kind of thinking can help us to be more self-aware and to better understand how our actions impact other people, because we want the world to be a better place and a more loving place, and if we're always thinking about ourselves, that's not going to happen. So great question.